No, what listen, what I was saying is there's no right and wrong in anything. You get
Mhm.
what I'm trying to say to you? Like as in how we educate people and stuff like that in terms of what they want to go through, what they want to go through, what they don't want to go through. So, I mean, a lot of people will follow the fact that let's go for such as company and stuff like that to see if it works or not. There's no right and wrong in anything, Rush.
Mhm.
There's no right and wrong. But the point is, as a perspective, I think it's our job to educate our clients or general public,
Yeah.
which obviously, it's a care of duty because we're in this trade and we're in this point where basically we need to make sure that that doesn't matter where they go. I don't really care where they go.
Mhm.
Do you get it? But as long as they find a place where they are recognized and they're safe, because I've come across a lot of cases, Rush,
Mm.
that I get a lot of phone calls, and I get to hear some sad stories. And it's not nice.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? So as long as we can educate the people that's there or whoever's watching the podcast and stuff, to say, look, have a look at these processes. Do you know what? Are they genuine? Are they not genuine? And so on. You get it?
Yeah.
But in all honesty, people should really, really, people should really dive in to see what they want themselves and what the company can deliver to them.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, what your perspective is as from a filmmaker's point of view. Do you know what I mean?
See, from a filmmaker's point of view, from my experience, speaking with the client, speaking with the customer, generally dictates a more smooth transition in terms of obviously how you work with one another. I think ultimately that relationship, you build a relationship with the client when you speak to them, when they get to know you. So in terms of from a business point of view, like when you process in the order or you're dealing with the client,
Yeah.
you have more of a rapport with them. Whereas obviously nowadays people book on social media or they kind of book over the website without even speaking. It's a bit awkward when you turn up because you don't know who's turning up.
But this is what I think. You know what it is that really bugs me. I swear to God, it does bug me.
Yeah, but then you gotta remember there are so many business modules now, not just within this industry,
Yeah.
but across the industry where people, it's an automated process.
Which is
And
great.
it's that's kind of like what's happening in this scenario, isn't it?
It is, but it's great. Don't get me wrong. But then, to be honest, if it's automated, then that means you can't really go back.
True.
So,
But then,
so does that mean that literally the customer is literally bought a program and that's done, and
yeah.
that's an event? Get it? So you can't really go back and literally I don't know make any alterations if needs to be.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So in terms of like that process, you're basically buying a template in a sense. So
Okay.
what people see now on the internet or on Instagram, TikTok, whatever it may be, whatever platform they
Yeah.
use, everyone assumes that's how the final product is going to be. So from
See-
my experience,
Yeah.
I think there's a false perception there. But obviously, end of the day, you gotta take back from a marketing point of view. That's what's selling. That's what draws
Okay.
in the business. But from your experience,
From a business perspective, to be honest, I think it's, I prefer the way to see my client, understand my client, and then deliver.
Mhm.
Because then I know exactly what they want, and then I know I can provide what they always wanted in a short form film or a full form film, right?
yeah,
But the problem is that if, let's say, it's not tailored. This is obviously we're creative arts.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? So being creative arts, I need to understand what my client wants as their end result.
Mhm.
And obviously, and then filmmakers like yourself would deliver that because I'll brief you on it. Do you know what I mean? This is what they want. This is how they want things and stuff.
yeah,
I just think that with the way things are at the moment, that yes, it's great. You have and elements where there are people that are delivering. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But they're delivering very standard stuff.
I mean, you could argue not necessarily because ultimately it comes down to first of all who you book,
Yeah.
who they book. They might not be on that job. So you just said personally you like to see it through from start to finish. That's basically the kind of direction you go
exactly.
going towards.
And I'm not, because Rush. I mean, I'm very passionate about the work as well as understanding my client.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, from what you're saying, that's kind of like a direction of your company. Other companies out there, I think the direction is slightly different.
Right.
So from filming, different kind of, I've worked with different companies.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own style, but ultimately, the content of the day is similar. It's just the way they shoot. Now you
Yeah.
could argue that essentially, if I saw some work online,
Yeah.
I like that style of work. 90% of the time when I'm booking, I want that. If I go
Yeah.
to the Apple shop, I buy an iPhone 16. I want the iPhone 16. I want iPhone 14.
Yeah,
I want
yeah,
iPhone
yeah.
16. So it's that kind of concept. So it's difficult to kind of meet there. I think ultimately the best thing when you're booking is to understand your client, understand your business.
Absolutely.
Have consultation, meet the person, maybe icebreakers, so pre-shoots or whatever, coffee, dinner, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And then I think after sales is a key element. So a lot of people, once they book, the event goes, they forget about it. But the after sales is essentially a big chunk of income that a lot of businesses are missing out on, because after sales is what brings you back that clientele.
No, absolutely, and that's 101%. But you can't do that if you're automated. That's what I'm trying. What I'm
Yeah,
trying
but
to get at.
then my argument with the automated is that you got to remember they're buying that specific program. So ultimately, you have to take on board that when you're buying that template, that's the template you're paying for.
Yeah.
So there are, in some scenarios, that template can go horribly wrong.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
in some
No, I
scenarios,
totally
some
agree
customers
with
are
you.
happy, but it all comes down to understanding what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Now, traditionally, we would ultimately prefer customers to speak
Yeah.
to us, but from a money kind of perspective, you for sure not going to turn down money for someone that's coming in and buying a template where you just go and shoot the same stuff. But ultimately, on a live event, it
Yeah.
never it you can't recreate moments that you've done at somebody else's function.
No, and that's what it is. That's what we make. I make sure with all my clients to say that. Look, I understand that you've booked me and you've seen the trailers. Okay, now you've seen the trailers and you think, yeah, wow, this is lovely, this is fantastic, but not necessarily means that this is going to be your trailer, because it's going to be everything's totally different. Even like the venue, the ambience, and your attitude and so on will be totally different.
Yeah.
So that's how that and as also another filmmaker, the way of thinking would be, that's when I'm going to carry on, and that's why I'm going to just push forward for that client.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Again, it comes back to the situation where I've met my client,
Mm-hmm.
they spoke to me, whether it's on the phone, I make sure like I get the Zoom perspective of what they want from me from the day.
Yeah.
Get it? But when you're going towards like literally, I'll say like sort of something totally different or automated, like you mentioned. You get it? I'm gonna go back to that.
Automated
I'm gonna go back.
Automated
to that.
the way forward, bro.
But automated is also it's one way of doing that per template. It's not authentic. You gonna spend what 30 to 40 grand at a wedding, and then you're gonna expect an automated basically assistant to come in just to record what he feels, because you don't even know that person. You don't.
I think for me personally, I prefer getting to know the client because obviously it builds a story.
Absolutely, and
But
100%.
there are certain clients out there that, in terms of pricing structure, they lean towards that because the automated process is far cheaper than the traditional way of doing it, because you're paying for a specific style,
Yeah.
whether it may be a 1 minute or 2 minute or 30-second. Now, obviously,
do you know what? Even if it works with the client, because look, we're not out here to, sort of kill the client, because you don't know, that client might have literally the budget might be such a way that the way they've got the budget is really hard, and they've worked really hard for it to spend in that sense. So it's a hard working cash. Do you get what I mean? But I just feel that basically you've spent so much money the fact that your team that you don't know are gonna turn up. I mean,
Mm.
you don't even know his name.
I mean, they do know the name because they get an automated email with the same
Oh
name on
yeah.
it.
Thanks, regards. You get it. But you just, I mean, you know, I think I know where you're coming from, and I totally agree with you. It's because it's based on people's budget and stuff like that. You get it. I just think that, you know, to be, there should be a point where, you know, like a client should really take a little focus on it.
Mhm.
I mean, I've had like numerous cases. They've booked,
Mhm.
but it's a kind of like either they haven't turned up for the day. Last month I've had quite a lot.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest.
So-
with you. I feel bad for them because it's probably a flaw in the system,
Mhm.
and this is where as a business point of view I would say they got to check that that the company that they go for.
Mhm.
Where are they based and what's his face or what's her face?
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm wrong in saying that, but I think these are very, very essential items.